So today my mission is to show you a lot of cool tips and tricks on the 2026 Honda Odyssey so you don't own this thing for your only to go, damn, I didn't even know it could do that. So let's hop on in. Is set up with what's called smart key entry. And what that means is if you have this key fob in your pocket, you can walk up to the door, put your hand on the door handle, and it'll automatically unlock the door for you. But what it doesn't do is unlock your passenger side doors. So if you have bad weather and you want to be able to run out and just touch the door handle and everybody can hop in, let me show you how to set that up. You're going to come over here and you go into vehicle settings. When you get into vehicle settings, you want to go to keyless access setup. Under that, it's going to be this very first option. Currently it's set to driver's door only. You're going to want to change that to all doors. So if you're anything like me, you're constantly traveling around with different things. I always got a laptop bag and cameras. You may get out of your car and you may walk into a grocery store or into work or wherever and go, oh my God, I don't know if I locked the doors. And then you got to turn around and walk all the way back and hit the key fob trying to get it to go off, or walk all the way back to the car to lock the doors to then leave the car. But you can actually set it up to when you get 10 feet from the car, it'll automatically lock the doors. So to set up the walk-away auto lock feature, we're gonna jump into vehicle settings. When we get into vehicle settings, we wanna go to door and window setup. From here, it's the third one down, walk-away auto lock. The default is for this feature to be turned off. You're gonna wanna turn it on. So these next couple tips or tricks are related to the gas. So on here, if you didn't know, this is connected to your door lock. So if you unlock the doors, you can pop this open. What you're gonna notice is there's no cap here. It's actually a valve, and there's a secondary valve down in there. So if you ran out of gas, you would need a way to hold this open to pour gas into it if you didn't have a gas can. But if you come back here and you look in this back panel, you can pull this guy down, and there's actually a little funnel right here, and that is the purpose of this funnel. This funnel can hold this open to be able to pour gas down into this if you didn't have a gas can to physically use. Back in this left corner, you can actually pop this little panel off, and you're gonna see this little wire right here. If your gas door ever gets stuck, all you gotta do is pull this wire, and it'll help pop your gas door open. So while we're at the back of the vehicle, let's talk about a couple cool things back here. So unlike SUVs, the Honda Odyssey has this really cool thing where you can fold the back seats away. Super cool because it creates a lot of additional cargo space, and you can do it with one hand. So if you needed to load up a bunch of stuff, this is a really cool feature that the vehicle offers. The second part that's really cool about this is if I flip these back and I don't pull them all the way open, but I open them and then I let them unlock, check out what you can do here. What I'm gonna do is basically create a seat for the back of the vehicle facing the opposite way. So I slide these guys open. Now I've got a recliner that I could hop in the back of with a cover and be able to watch my kids if they were playing baseball or soccer. I'd be in the shade. I've got air vents aimed at my back that I could enjoy, and I could sit and watch the game. Pretty cool. So the Honda Odyssey has a lot of different safety settings, and some of those include radar down on the grille to detect cars in front of you for collisions. And it's got a camera up here to read the lines on the road to keep you centered. Well, that camera that's up here can actually pick up street signs and speed signs specifically and present them to you in the dash. That way, if you're driving through an unfamiliar area, you don't want to get caught in a speed zone. Let me show you how to turn that on. So to turn on traffic sign recognition, you're going to go into vehicle settings. When you get into vehicle settings, you want to go to driver assist system setup. Now in here, you're going to scroll to the very bottom, you're going to see traffic sign recognition system. You're going to make sure that feature is turned on. So depending on how tall you are, and if this car is going to live in a garage, the tailgate may matter on how tall it gets, because you may not be able to reach this. But if you get the tailgate set to whatever height you want it to be at, and then press and hold this button until you hear a double beep in the car, now the height is set to this height. So there are times when you may be in a parking structure somewhere odd, and you don't want this to just automatically open if you use the key fob or if you touch the button, right? The button underneath, if you press and hold it, you'll hear a double beep, and then it'll open it, and you can manually open this thing. So the Honda Odyssey is set up with a remote start. And if you're not familiar with the remote start, let me explain that. The doors have to be locked on the car. So once you have them locked, you'll press this little round circle button and hold it for a second. After you hold it for a second or two, what it's gonna do is it's gonna fire up the car. Now, after that, you'd have to walk up to the car, enter the car, which if you have, smart key entry, you could hop in. And then once you hop in, you'll have to put your foot on the brake and press the start button for the car to fully fire up. Now, if this isn't a feature that you feel comfortable with, or you just won't use it, you can turn remote start completely off. You're gonna go into vehicle settings. When you go to vehicle settings, you're gonna go to keyless access setup. From there, you're gonna see remote start system on off. From there, you're just going to want to select that feature and turn it off. So there are times when you may want to be able to lock your keys in your car, but the way this car is designed, if I leave my key in the car, try to lock the doors and leave it, it's not going to lock the doors. You'll actually see the splash. It didn't lock, so you can't accidentally lock your keys in your car. But there are times when I may want to do that. If I have somebody else coming to pick up the car, or if I have a tow truck coming and I want the key to be in it and they're going to bring the spare, whatever the case may be, let me show you how to turn off the lockout prevention feature. So to turn off lockout prevention, what you're going to do is you scroll over to vehicle settings. Under vehicle settings, you want to go to keyless access setup. When you do that, it's going to be about the fourth one down. It's going to say lockout prevention. It's actually the fifth one down. You're going to select that, and then you're going to select off. So one of the things that makes the Honda Odyssey really cool is going to be seating. And let me tell you about that for a second. So your seating in your second row is on a rail system, and they're all removable. For example, I've already removed the center console just to show you. And then once you do that, you can slide these guys back and forth because they're on a rail system. So you have the ability to completely remove this row. That third row folds away to where you can make one enormous section if you wanted to camp in your car. But then additionally, if you just wanted to make captain's chairs, or you wanted to make it a little bit easier for somebody to get into that third row or back, the versatility inside of the Honda Odyssey is one of the things that makes it awesome. And if you're not taking advantage of this, you should. Now, while the Honda Odyssey may not be conventionally sexy, right? It does offer a lot of really cool things for families. And let me explain this next one. On the doors, they are set up with sensors. And what that means is if you had little fingers or little hands that were in here and the door started to close, it won't smash them. So unlike those SUVs where your little sister might slam the door on your brother and then everyone's having a bad day, this is set up to do that for the doors. And not only will it do it for the doors, it'll also do it for your moonroof. The way the key fob and the doors are set up on the Honda Odyssey, it used to be that you would have to unlock the doors first and then you could open one of the sliding doors. Now, that was a little bit clunky for some people because they were meaning to get into the door, right? But you can set it up to where you have to unlock it to open the sliding doors, or you can just press this and whether it's locked or unlocked, it'll open the sliding doors. So to affect the changes on your sliding doors, you want to go into vehicle settings. Under vehicle settings, go to door and window setup, and then you're going to see power slide door keyless open mode. You can either select anytime or when unlocked. So these next couple tips or tricks are related to Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Now, I'm using a Google Pixel 10 XL, so I'm going to show you with Android Auto, but this works the same for Apple CarPlay. Don't judge me for being an Android user. Now, the first one I'm going to show you is you can customize the screen. So if you prefer your GPS to be over here and maybe your audio over here, know that you can flip-flop these. To do so, you just want to come in here and you're going to go to settings. When you get into settings, you're going to want to scroll down here until you say display. You're going to see change layout. Under change layout, I can move the media closer to me. So now when I jump back to that home screen, my media is on the left side and over here, GPS. The next thing I want to show you is if you come in here, you can see that I have these custom actions set up. Now, the first one is set up to call someone. I have it set up to call my phone number. So if you ever needed to get in contact with me, know that I leave that in my videos if you have a question or you want to shoot me a text. The second one is actually really cool. This is going to pull up and give me directions to the nearest Taco Bell. It's going to input everything for me, so I'm going to turn it down so you don't hear it filling in the directions. And it's going to show me where the nearest one, and then all I'd have to do is hit start. Super cool if there's somewhere you commonly go. Maybe it's Starbucks, maybe it's the bank, right? Maybe it's just the nearest gas station. If you want a quick way to do this, to not have to use the voice commands and then hope that they work. This is a really cool way to set up a quick action. Now, to do this, to set up either one of these, let me show you how. What you'll do is you're going to come down to the bottom and go to customize. When you go to customize, it's going to launch your custom action launcher. Now, the first thing I want to show you here is if you want to rearrange the order of anything, so you saw I had those two up top to call me and Taco Bell, you can rearrange the order of all of your apps. So this is where you do it from. Now, let's show you how to set up those actions though. To do so, you go to add a custom action. Now, for call a contact, you just go in here and then select the person you want and add them in. Super simple. It'll drop in their name for it. Now, the custom action, if you wanted to like give you directions, for example, that's the one I'm showing here, is an assistant action. So what you would do is first put in the command. So let's say directions to nearest Starbucks. The next part is we're going to label it. So I'm going to label this Starbucks. Now, if you're concerned that your action may not work, know that you can test your command first. Now, if you're confident that that'll work, you can go ahead and create your shortcut. When you do, it's going to drop it down at the very bottom. So you're going to see it down here. And I would have to drag this up, right? So I would drag it up to maybe the very top or wherever I want this action to live. So I'm going to make it the very first one. Now, for all of these actions to take place, you've got to restart Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. So I'm going to turn the car off and turn it back on. Now that I've turned the car off and turned it back on, right, I'm going to jump in to my settings and you're going to see Starbucks is listed as my first one. I'm gonna select that and turn the volume down so it can fill in all that for me. It's gonna pull up the nearest Starbucks, allow me to add it as a stop because I currently have Taco Bell set up as my first stop. So super simple to use, and then you'll notice additionally, it's rearranged the order that I've selected. Now, there's a couple other settings that I want to show you when it comes to Apple CarPlay and Android Auto that may apply to you. If you jump in here and you scroll down to settings, things like showing the first line of a message, you can turn that feature off. Just things where you're like, hey, I'm gonna group text some guys text wild things. Maybe I don't want my kids to hear it or see it, right? There's a handful of other things that you can play with here. But additionally, if you touch this at the very bottom, it'll actually open up some additional settings that you can access for Android Auto and Apple CarPlay on your phone as well. So these next two tips or tricks require you to have your seatbelt on, right? So remember that. Okay, so the first one I want to talk to you about is your parking brake, right? So if your parking brake is set, which you press it to set it, and you'll see the brake button up here. Now, if you have your seatbelt on, you can get in the car, put your seatbelt on, shift the car to drive. You don't have to turn this button off. You can just press gas and it'll actually release it automatically for you. Kind of a cool trick, so you're not sitting there going, why is the car not moving? So the second feature I want to talk to you about is called brake hold. So the brake hold button is right below your parking button. So if you press this button, you're gonna see brake hold pop on there, right? You're gonna see it right there. And what it's gonna do is, while I have the car in drive, it'll show a button that says hold. So I'm in drive, I can release my foot from the brake and we're not moving, right? So if I'm in stop and go traffic or in a drive-through line, I can move up a couple feet, and then when I come to a complete stop again, the hold button will come on, meaning it's holding the brake for me, and I can release my foot while the car's in drive. But you have to have your seatbelt on. So if you're in a drive-through line and you take off your seatbelt to maybe reach the drive-through or whatever, what it's immediately gonna do is turn that emergency brake on and alert you that the car's in drive. So it won't move accidentally if you take your seatbelt off. But this is a really cool convenience feature. So I'd like to ask you for a couple favors before I get out of here. One, I hope you'll press the like button. I hope you like the way I'm presenting the content. Two, leave a comment. If you feel like I missed something out or there's a tip or trick that you know, let me know. I would love to be able to add it to my next video. Three, I hope you subscribe to the channel, man. When I produce content like this, I hope that you'll get it so that you can check it out. And then four, I hope that you'll share the video. If you got some friends that are shopping for a Honda Odyssey, or maybe they already own one, I hope you'll share this video with them so they can take advantage of some of the really cool things this car can do. Speaking of that, if you want to see how this car stacks up against the Toyota Sienna, the Kia Carnival, and the Chrysler Pacifica, I just made a video on that that's a little bit longer form. So feel free to check it out. It'll be at the end of this video and in the video description. So like, comment, subscribe, all the things. Later, guys!